Shortly after my wife and I got married she became pregnant, but only a week later she was taken to the hospital for excessive bleeding. We lost the baby. The doctor yelled at me because he thought I didn't resist the urge. That's how we lost the baby. I was stunned. I had never slept with my wife since she was pregnant. I was at work when I got a call from the hospital. They said my wife was hospitalized. Shocked, I went there as fast as I could, and I forgot to take the day off. The doctor looked at me sternly. What are you doing? The first trimester is always the risky one, and you guys didn't even hold back on doing the deed. Do you know what you've done? The girl's had a lot of abortions. Her body's already used to this procedure by now. It'll be hard to get a child now. My mind was buzzing, still refusing to accept the truth. I asked, Doctor, are you sure that's right? This is our first baby. She can't have done that. A lot of times. I've never slept with her since she got pregnant. This can't be. I couldn't finish the sentence. I knew the story. I had fallen in love with my wife the moment I saw her. I had resources and was willing to provide for her, so we got hitched after getting our parents' blessings. I took her first night, or so I thought. Since I noticed the crimson patch on the sheets, my heart soared when I saw it, and I thought I had gotten myself an untouched woman. She got pregnant not too long after that. The night before, she said she would come home late because she had to go out with a friend to the doctors. Her friend wasn't feeling too well, and my wife always went with her to the doctors, so I paid it no mind. Now that I think about it, she must have been cheating on me for a while. I broke out of my trance when I heard her phone buzz. Before this, I had never snooped through her phone, curious, and while the anesthetic still worked, I snooped through her phone for the first time. I pressed her finger against the button and unlocked it. When I opened up WhatsApp, I was met with a conversation window I wished I hadn't seen. My mind was blank. When are you coming over? I miss you. You're in heat again. Wait for me in the room. I'm going to take you when I'm done with work. Don't go too hard. It was swollen the last time and wouldn't go down even after hours. How did you explain it to your husband? Couldn't tell him it was a mosquito bite, could I? Told him the doctor said I had a bit of a lump and gave me a bit of acupuncture. The lump's in the process of going down. And he bought it. He's that stupid. Yeah, intelligence hasn't been his strongest suit. The messages went on and on. There were a few hundred of them, and all were raunchy, racy stuff. Some were even explicit. I saw photos of my wife and her affair partner in their birthday suit. She was lying on the bed right now, and I had only hatred for her. I wanted to drag her out of bed and demand answers, but what remained of my sanity held me back. I couldn't alert her right now. I must collect evidence of her infidelity first. If I didn't have any proof of her cheating, she could deny it and take half of my stuff in the divorce. So, I needed evidence, solid evidence. The ward's door creaked open, and my in-laws came rushing in. I had taken snapshots of the chat history and saved it, and I put her phone back in its spot. My mother-in-law grabbed my collar and thumped my chest, cursing, "Give me my daughter back. She just got pregnant. Why couldn't you just control yourself, you animal?" Her husband stopped her and took me out to the corridor. Solemnly, he said, "George, I know you're young and lively, but Queenie's my daughter, and I cherish her very much. You can't just abuse her like this. We're all very angry at you. How are you going to make it up to us?" He proposed, "How about you get Jack a car? About 500,000 or so should be enough. We'll let this slide if you do that." Jack was my wife's brother. He had graduated trade school for years but had been leeching off his parents. I sneered. Ever since I married my wife, her family kept coming up with excuses to leech off me instead. They asked me to get them the latest electronics, the newest sneakers, and the best things they could come up with. They even wanted me to fork over money so their son could have nice dates. I looked at him, inscrutable. I don't have that kind of money. Before my father-in-law could do anything, my mother-in-law snapped, "You're just going to pump and dump my daughter? Queenie's a good girl, and you ruined her. You ruined her baby. You're an animal. You can't even keep your lust in check." She plopped down onto the ground and cried crocodile tears. "You killed my daughter's baby. You're inhuman. You can't even hold back when your wife's pregnant. You killed her child." Everyone looked at us, but then Jack stuck his head out of the door. "Stop it, Mom. Queenie's awake." We went into the ward and saw Queenie Rivera, pale but awake and in bed. She looked disheveled. The moment she saw me, she cried, "I'm sorry, honey, I just found out that our baby is." "Tell me the truth. What happened?" I asked sternly, right before her parents. She looked aggrieved. "This is all my fault. I didn't know alternative medicine was off the table during pregnancy. I've been feeling sluggish lately, so I booked an acupuncture session with my friend, but that session was for bruises. When I got back, I felt unwell, and then, the baby's gone." I looked at her darkly. At first, I was furious. I couldn't accept this betrayal, but then, I felt disappointment set in. And then I lost all hope. All these years spent on her, wasted. Still, I would get my revenge before the divorce. Queenie's mother hugged her and cried, grumbling about how careless she was. Her father looked at me kindly. "This is a misunderstanding, George. Don't take it to heart. You're still young. You can have more children down the line." I didn't berate Queenie, since I wanted to keep the peace for now. Thinking that this had blown over, Queenie went into recovery without worries, and she was discharged soon enough. On the day of her discharge, she refused my offer to pick her up and only came back home late at night. I was in a sour mood and drank a little that night. When she came back, I was already asleep. She seemed exhausted. After a shower, she came to bed and fell asleep once her head hit the pillow. Once I was sure she had fallen asleep, I opened my eyes. I got out of bed quietly and took her phone from the bedside table. Then, I tiptoed to the study. I used my PC and synced her chat to the cloud. Though I was prepared for this, seeing her sexting someone else still made me go numb, and my heart. But you're in recovery. Crap. I just thought of what happened, and I got hard again. Next time you're on your period, let's try another position. You meanie. I can't believe you do me when I'm in recovery. I could die, you know. Oh, but it felt good doing it with you, really good. Wait for me, okay? We'll meet up when I've recovered. Days, I can wait, but something else can't. Following that message was a photo. The light was dim, but I knew what it was, and it was standing tall. I clenched my fists, shivering in rage. I wanted to drag that woman out of bed, but I forced myself to stay calm. I told myself this wasn't the time yet. Queenie's recovery went smoothly. She obtained her PhD and got a job as a lecturer at the university she studied. She didn't have work yet, but she stayed on her phone all day long. I used to think she was busy at work, but after going through her chat history, I noticed that there weren't a lot of work messages. The fact she was so busy was because she texted her affair partner non-stop. I got the bastard's number and traced it back to the owner. I found the guy, and he was none other than her university friend. He was her first love. That man was Howard Lawson. He married the scion of a rich man after graduation, and his father-in-law made him the company's general manager. It was a famous company in the area, and Howard's wife was infamous for her short temper. I had met her once during a business outing. Her looks were nothing to brag about, but she had more muscles than a professional bodybuilder. My wife was more feminine compared to her. Unfortunately for my wife and Howard, I knew this woman's number. I used a travel SIM card and sent the scion a part of the chat history between my wife and Howard. She called me a while later, but I ignored it. More calls came, and I ignored them all. Frustration was building inside her, and I knew it. When it was about time, I texted her, Howard doesn't love you anymore. You old woman, you know that, don't you? Just let him go. Now that he doesn't care about you, just let him date someone he cares about. Maybe he'll actually spare your dignity. The scion flew into a fit of rage and blew up my phone with texts. Who are you? How dare you steal my husband? Do you know who I am? No one gets away with it after they steal my stuff. Where the hell are you? You'd better not run if you dare. I'll rip your tongue off.